Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to Harping on Rugby. This is our weekly newsletter called the 80 Plus column. Now, in case you missed it, check out our wrap pod from last week. We looked at Ireland's win over Fiji. That's on all the usual platforms, Apple, Spotify, and all of them. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please be sure to click that subscribe button and also catch the full 80 Plus column, including all our other usual features like Troll Patrol. We've got actually a Harpin contributor on that this week, as well as a roundup of all the other major competitions in the world rugby. That's all to be found on our website at harpinonrugby.blog. But for now, it's all about our feature known as Front Five, which is a selection of 5 eye-catching, egg-chasing quotes and links from around the rugby media landscape. As you can see, I've got 5 headings lined up here. So let's crack on with this week's article, starting with this one from the Irish Independent. It's by Cian Tracy. Sorry if this is behind a paywall, but I try to get articles from all over the internet when I can. So this is behind a paywall, but I found it was worth reading. The headline is "What It Means for an Irish Out Half to Run the Week." Okay, the quote is, the aim was for him to grab hold of that team and make sure that he treated it like his own, as though he was in charge. This is about Sam Prendergast, who started for Ireland against Fiji at the weekend. I thought he did pretty well. We talked about it on the Rap Pod. But this is about what happens during the week before. And obviously, if an out half is going to run an offense or an attack plan, he needs to be in charge of training during the week. He needs to lead the back line, no matter what age he is, whether he's an experienced player, Johnny Sexton when he retired, or Sam is like in his early 20s. So it's important for him, even though it's one of his first caps for Ireland, to take charge from training. So it's not just about what you see on the pitch. It's about running the game throughout the week. So it's an interesting article from that aspect. Now, there's another aspect of it too. We harped on this a little bit on last week's video for the 80 Plus column. Basically, an article like this can get the heckles up of fans of other provinces, those who are thinking, Sam's selection, there might be Munster fans who are thinking, people think that it's threatened that maybe Sam or Kieran Frawley or something like that is going to somehow take over Jack's position as the leading Irish contender for number 10. That people think that, because Sam is from Leinster, there's this plot. We talked about this last week, like I said, this plot to supplant Crowley as the Irish number 1 out half. That there's that Andy Farrell is working to put Sam in there eventually. It's ludicrous takes in several different sources, and this assumption that if you say something good about Sam, if you say that Sam did good things in the match, then therefore that means that you are also saying bad things about somebody like Crowley. And it's a mindset I just can't get. What if we had 3 great out halves to choose from and we picked from them? I've said multiple times, Jack Crowley is in possession of the Irish 10 jersey. If we had a big match starting tomorrow, he'd be the one starting, and there's no question of that. That can change based on form, but it's his jersey to lose right now. And I'm hoping he starts against Australia. Ideally, I can see a scenario where they don't, because Kieran Frawley hasn't had a start yet. So we'll see what way they go at the weekend. But it's just that provincial bickering every international time, it just gets ridiculous. Anyway, that's another point I got from this article. So that's our first article this week. Check it out if you can. Okay, our second one comes from a website called Talking Rugby Union. A guy called Frank Nixon wrote it, and the headline reads, "Jordie Barrett set to join Leinster, injury fears eased." Now, this is something we found out last week, that Jordie Barrett didn't make the squad for New Zealand, for the All Blacks, when they played Italy in their final game. He had some knee troubles. Obviously his next journey is to Leinster. We would very much like him to be involved in our squad for the Champions Cup. We've said at Leinster that getting into Leinster center pairing won't be easy, even for him, the way they're playing at the moment. But still, if you have the talent like that coming into the squad, you'd want him ready to play. So, the chat earlier in the week from Leo Cullen, this quote from him: "He was a little nervous, but he he had a scan. So that's what we want. Get him in the door and see how he looks running around. Now, even if he's talking about him running around, that's a good sign if he's got a knee issue. So at least he is going to run to see how he is. So we'll see how that goes. But that's a bit of good news on the Jordie front. Plus the fact that he's arriving in the squad. Now, if you look at our 80 plus column, we do a feature in that about Leinster's match day 23, about the update, the injury update as well. So Jordie is obviously now part of that. There's some players available, unavailable. And what I do is I pick the 23 I expect Leinster to choose for our next game. We're playing Ulster on Friday night. So that's all there on the 80 plus column. Okay, third article comes from Michael Glennon in RTE.ie. Now, this particular one is about Connacht. The headline reads, Connacht doing everything possible to keep Bundee Aki and Mac Hansen, says Pete Wilkins. This is about rumors about interest from the top 14 for like Bundee Aki. There's rumors about Toulon and stuff like that. The quote I've chosen is interesting because the quote reads, he seems pretty happy to me and Galway loves him as much as he loves Galway. So I hope that continues. Now, actually, in the article, Pete Wilkins is saying that about Mac Hansen, but I'm pretty sure you could say the exact same quote word for word about Bundee. They both love him there. They're great players. They've done great things for Connacht and Ireland over the past few years, and you really want them to stay. In Bundee's case, since he's that bit older and he's been there that much longer, you couldn't blame him if he did have an opportunity to cash in, as it were, and go to Toulon or whatever. I wouldn't have problems with that myself if that's something he wanted to do, but obviously it'd be great for him to stay, and he definitely does love it there in Galway. So we'll see what they do. Now, I've called this part around the provinces because there's a bit of news in other provinces as well. Ulster have signed Juarno Augustus from Northampton, South African, number 8. It's a great signing. Always good to get a decent NIQ, and what's bonus for him is he's got that title winning experience. He was part of the Northampton team that won the premiership. So it's a really good signing for them. He comes with a lot of experience. Of course, Ulster always blessed with good back rowers anyway, so he'll just add to that as well. Be handy when the internationals are away, so that's good for them. On Munster news as well, there's still talk about who's going to take over as coach. Rumors flying around, but they've re-signed coaches. Some that were maybe rumored that might take over, like Prendergast and Dennis Leamy. They've re-signed coaches as their unit status at the moment, so it's still open as to who will get the top job, but that's just some updates there as well. So there's news from all around the provinces there. Okay, fourth article comes from The Guardian. It's Jared Maher, and the headline reads, RFU's annual report shows a worrying decline. Has it lost its purpose? Now, this is about the recent, the annual financials from the RFU. And there was a lot of headlines about their CEO, Bill Sweeney, who got a bonus and who got paid an incredible amount of money and plus got a bonus as well, despite the fact that not only did the RFU itself had to lay off staff because of financial problems, but we all know the last 4 or 5 years, 3 actual clubs have gone out of business as well. It's just the Premiership to me has just always seemed a hopeless financial model. It was just unsustainable, and something had to give. There's talk of other clubs, possibly kind of being on shaky ground as well. They're down to just 10 clubs in that Premiership at the moment. So so this is an article that, but it doesn't focus on the Sweeney thing. It doesn't focus on the clubs thing. It focuses on the RFU as a whole and what it does. And it's a serious question. And the quote I've chosen from the article is the RFU's top priority the success of Steve Borthwick's side? And that's a question that happens a lot through sports. I mean, you don't just see it at international level. You see a lot of clubs in all sports, football, rugby, whatever. They might have rich traditions of success in the past, but at the moment you wonder, the committee are bringing in, they're bringing in sponsorship, they're bringing in deals, they're getting big paydays on big match days. But you look at the way they're developing the team itself, and you ask yourself, are they really doing everything they can to make that the success kind of justify the money the fans are paying to watch the team? So it does happen all throughout sports, but the RFU, the English Rugby Football Union at the moment in particular, is under the spotlight right now, and it's not a good look. I mean, that CEO thing was it's a disgusting thing to see when you see an organization doing badly and the CEO raking it in at the same time. But that doesn't just happen in rugby. We've seen that in banking. We've seen that in all sorts of areas over the years. So it's not a surprise. It's still shocking. It's still disgusting, but it's not a rugby thing. Is my point there. So that's what's going on in the RFU. Okay. Fifth and final article this week. This is our feature clickbait of the week. We're going to go back to the well of our favorite clickbait rich site. It's ruck.co.uk this week. The headline is Ireland International jailed for 3 years. What? There's a link. Ireland International Centre jailed for 3 years. Who is it? Oh, is it Bundee? Is it Robbie Henshaw? Who are the centres at the moment? Oh my God, I must check out this article. It's Brendan Mullen. Hasn't played for Ireland since 1995. If you want to know more about that story, you can Google it yourself, search it yourself. I'm not interested. If you did something wrong, you went to jail, he's going to jail for it, that's fine. That's all in the papers anyway. You can research that. I'm not including that in the site. My point here is ruck.uk knew damn well what they're doing with that headline, and I'm calling them out for it. So I'm not including a link to that article because that would kind of defeat the purpose. If you want to check it out, go to ruck.uk yourself. You're free to do that, of course. But this whole clickbait thing, it's going too far, and that's another example of it. Okay, so that's our clickbait of the week. Okay, listen, that's enough. That completes this week's Front Five. Remember, we do a lot of other regular features on that 80+ column. You can get it all by just heading over to our website at harpinonrugby.blog. There's a busy week here at Harpin Manor with not one but two featured matches. There will be a preview and wrap pods for both Ulster v Leinster and Ireland v Australia. So please be sure to subscribe to our channel as well as on our other social media platforms. You can find them all at linktree/harpinonrugby. Until next time, stay safe, everyone. Slán.